I'm Phaedra.
And I'm Sophie.
And this is My Best View.
Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
My best view this week actually happened last night. I viewed my friend Claudia and her fiancé Corey at their engagement party. And that was so exciting. I've known Claudia for over a decade. And it was just so nice to be able to celebrate her and Corey at their engagement party last night. It was at this really nice venue. It was gorgeous. They had little catered food that was really good. And I don't know, it was just so sweet. I love love. They're these two beautiful tall gazelles, and I'm so happy that they found each other, and they're going to have 6'7" children together. And I also know, more importantly about them, that they do listen to the podcast. So I wanted to give them a shout out.
I'm not going to talk about these people in a complimentary manner unless...
Yeah, don't worry. They're real friends because they, at the very least, interact with us on social media, and I believe also listen to the pod. So I really appreciate that about them. And more than that, I appreciate them as people and their beautiful relationship together. And I'm so excited for them.
I love that. I met them at your wedding, although I feel like I've had a parasocial relationship with them for years, just through your family's social media. But I loved them. That was a highlight of your wedding. Aside from the wedding element, was meeting them.
I love that. And Sophie, what was your best view this week?
Well, this week, I did not have that many good views. This is due to the fact that the aforementioned flood situation in my apartment has worsened, and I'm now currently living with my in-laws in the countryside of Germany. But we just recently have moved into my husband's late grandparents' house in the same village. And the view I want to discuss is a view that our YouTube listeners or YouTube watchers can also see, which is my new podcast studio, which is, you can see this sort of old German artwork on the wall behind me. This is this little dungeony space. There's also a light fixture that's gold with a crown that is not visible. But this little dungeon is my new podcast studio. So thrilled to have a space, you know?
Honestly, you being in this dungeon is giving you some pretty good acoustics, so I'm into it.
The flood was worth it. I have better acoustics now.
Thank you, flood.
But you know what? I will say I was really happy this week. Last week, I was upset that there was not a lot of meat in the episode. I felt this episode was meaty, and I'm very excited to discuss it.
Maybe because you've had a bit of a rough week with not a lot of great views. Maybe your best view was just watching the episode.
Just seeing you right now.
Truly. No matter how bad my week is, sometimes I'm well, at least on the weekend, I'm going to be able to see Sophie and yap for an hour before we start recording the podcast and have a really good time.
As it should be.
Yes. We say this every time, but truly, given the rough week Sophie had, thank God, we start with Shekinah and Sarper. We needed this.
Thank God.
So we open with a title card. This is not important in this note, just saying Bay Area. I can't figure out where they are. Is it Monterey? Is it the Bay Area?
I think it's Monterey.
I know. So why would they say the Bay
Monterey
Area?
Monterey is borderline Bay Area.
Debatable. I feel like they have their own bay. So I guess, yeah, it's the Bay Area. There's a bay. So we start with Shekinah coming out into the yard of the rental home they're staying at, and she sees Sarper, who tells her to sit and watch him practice, quote, a new joke. And this is how we learn in the show that Sarper is trying to be, or already is, I think, trying to be a stand-up comedian. We had some...
Thank God for that.
He's the only man I want to have a microphone. And I'm happy he's pursuing that. The fact that Shekinah, I mean, she wasn't responding great to it, but the fact that she still is attracted to this dude after this and didn't get the total ick means they are in real love.
It was boomer husband humor.
Yeah.
It's doctor, I'm hearing this annoying noise. Have you told your wife to shut up? That genre of humor.
Which I really hope he's expanded outside of. Exactly the thing that he said. He gave a couple jokes, but the one he started with, he says, we as men, we are bad liars. But women, they are grandmasters.
And then he goes, get it?
Shekinah is giving him a look that, if she could furrow her brow with no Botox, she would be furrowing a brow.
I think she's just let me just get through this, and then we can move on with our day. She's
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just genuine disappointment and cringe. She's not mad at him, but she's just can we stop? Let's move on from whatever is happening.
Yeah.
But in an interview, Sarper says that he loves the stage, which we knew, and that he danced for 7 years. And we see a very short flashback clip from, again, some spinoff of him dancing for, I think, Shekinah in like a stripper-esque construction worker outfit.
Very Magic Mike coded. I needed more of that.
Oh my God.
And by the way, not even for my personal like sexual preferences. I just was like, whatever's happening, I need to be absorbing more of it. It was just like 2 milliseconds.
It was amazing. I really think that you and me need to be, after this, we need to recap every bit of television these two have appeared on before this. And this made me really excited. I can't wait to see this whole scene play out. Also, side note, if they do end up getting married and he is in America, I hope in addition to doing stand-up, he is also doing Magic Mike live in Vegas.
And we'll be attending. And we'll bring t-shirts. We'll make custom t-shirts.
We fly out to California. We stop by Shekinah's to get 2 facials. And then with our beautiful glowing skin, we go and we see Sarper performing Magic Mike. I think that genuinely, I'm like a dog barking when like the owner starts saying like words that they like, you want to go for a walk? Ball? Shekinah facial, and then Sarper dance performance.
What's coming up for me is the fact that neither of us were into the idea of like a bachelorette trip. And now I'm like, belated.
Sarper? Redo. We're like those people who didn't have like a good enough proposal. So like 10 years in, like the husband proposes again. We need to redo each of our bachelorette parties. My sister at one point was like, do you want a stripper? Then I was like, ew, no.
But now you're like, wait.
So continuing in the interview, Sarper says that he liked the attention he got when dancing, but Shekinah doesn't let him do it anymore. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic also.
Mm-hmm. I actually didn't catch that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I am guessing this was maybe a plot line in one of the iterations of the show they're on before, but we'll never know.
I'm sure it was.
Please angrily comment the fact that we're not getting it, like, but we're not getting
Everybody knows.
Obviously, this was a plot line of before the 90-day. So, anyway, Sarper continues doing his routine for Shekinah with equally bad jokes following that. And in an interview, he says that Shekinah is so reactionless to his practicing that if he gets that kind of reaction eventually when he actually performs, it will be fine because he's used to it. In an interview now with Shekinah, she says that she thinks that Sarper is very funny, but she thinks he's funnier, quote, in the wild. And, you know, I get what she's saying.
From what I can see, I agree.
She wants people to laugh at him, but because they actually think he's funny, not in a mean way. And I do understand what she means. It must be hard dating a pretty flamboyant guy with a lot of confidence where you're like, I want people to get him, and I'm worried they're not going to. So, but I want Shekinah to know. We'll say publicly, girl, we get it. We love that Sarper man. We think he's hilarious. We are laughing not at him. We are laughing with him. We're on his side. And genuinely, I do understand what she's saying about basically that maybe stand-up is not the right venue for him, like these scripted jokes. I'm very excited once this is all over to check out his socials and see how the stand-up is. But look, if it's not working out, Sarper is a reality TV star. There are so many reality shows that he should be going on that he would shine on, being funny in the wild.
Absolutely.
What are some that you would like to see him on? I think Traitors.
Oh, he would be good on Traitors.
He'd be good as a faithful or a traitor, too. I think he's very versatile in that way.
He would also be really good as a Real Housewife friend.
Oh, yes. He is who Dan thinks he is.
In so many ways.
Back in the moment, the two express that today is the day, and they're both nervous but excited. This is because Sarper is meeting Sophie. Just a little moment, but they get up now from their seats in the yard to go to the car. And on the way to it, Sarper suggests that they stop and grab a blanket for Sophie because it can get cold later while they're spending the day together. And he says he's kind of like a father figure. It's nice that he's thinking of something like this, and he's clearly putting in effort and has the intention that this will go well. And Shekinah seems happy.
It's also nice that he's acknowledging that he also is going to have a father role. I mean, he's not really raising her. I think she's a bit old for that, but it's nice that he's acknowledging that Sophie's part of the package.
Also nice that he's like, oh, I'm like a father figure, not I'm her dad.
I agree with that too. Yeah, I like that too.
We now see B-roll footage of sea lions on the beach, like the ones that Sarper barked at in the last episode and had such a whimsical time with. So they're going to the beach, and in an interview, she kind of explains that they're going whale watching. So they all have to, so that they have a fun activity to do to kind of take the pressure off the meeting, which I think is really smart.
It's like with dates. It's like a first date that's just like a dinner and you're just sitting across from each other.
That's really intense. You better have a really good connection if that's going to go well. We're just cutting back and forth to interviews. It's kind of funny. So in Sarper's interview, he explains that normally when he's this anxious about something, he just tries to escape, like run away. This is kind of cute to me. He gave the example of if his favorite sports team is about to have a goal scored against them, he has to turn off the TV because he can't bear to watch it, which is just kind of funny. But he knows that he has to push through that feeling for Sophie. Now we cut into real life, and Sarper and Shekinah are waiting on the pier on the ocean. And Sophie arrives, just like I expected. It's a super calm meeting.
There was so much producer, like, hype before this that you kind of know it's going to be fine. Just because they were like, oh, what's going to happen? And then, like, they meet, and of course, they're all just, like, behaving normally.
So they're all really excited to be whale watching. They have these big smiles on their face. At one point, Sarper says this is going to be his first time ever seeing a whale. So it's just very exciting.
I love his love of animals. It really warms my heart.
If there's an animal, Sarper is pointing it out. So right after the boat departs, they all decide to go out onto the front deck to see if there are any whales already, which, I mean, there wouldn't be, but they're just really excited.
They're like 1 foot from shore.
They're like, where are the whales? Where are the whales? It's a little bit bumpy on the water, so a wave kind of comes up and hits them on the deck and makes them super, like, soaked. They're all laughing and having fun.
Also, I'd like to add, it was like a cold day. So it wasn't like a hot day on the water getting splashed. Like, they were all just, like, shivering.
Northern California waters are just not that warm, and especially if you're on a boat. To be honest, you'd be wearing a coat. You wouldn't necessarily, unless it's a really, really hot day in, like, August, you would not be wearing a bikini or anything. It's pretty chilly. So they're all laughing and having fun, but the vibe quickly changes after they go back inside the boat's covered area. The vibe doesn't change between the people, but because of how cold they get, and then because they're inside on a boat, and dude, I know it stinks in there. Like, boats just have this specific smell.
I know.
And being inside a covered area, for whatever reason, this just makes you feel super seasick. And they get hit with that mama. Shekinah is sitting with Sophie and tells her, like, yeah, I might throw up. And Sophie's like, no, you're kidding. Really? Oh, no. Like, they're almost like trying to not talk that much because they're focusing on not vomiting.
They're very much in, like, problem-solving mode. They're like, okay, I'm going to be throwing up.
I got food poisoning the other week, so I was like, oh, this is too recent. Like, this vibe is so bad. But, dude, I don't know how you felt, but I started cackling. I was cracking up because during this kind of interaction between Sophie and Shekinah, I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling so well. We start to cut, like, back and forth between that and footage of Sarper, like, stumbling around inside of the boat, like, looking like he's about to hurl. And it was just something about this was making me laugh so hard. Like, the juxtaposition between them being like, we're gonna see whales, getting splashed by the water, and then like, I'm about to throw up, was so funny.
It makes me laugh because I just feel like that's somehow how these things go. Like, you sign up for an excursion and it just, like, I don't know why, but, like, it never ends up the way you think it's gonna end up.
You're like, oh, we're gonna have this, like, mystical, like, whimsical experience going and seeing whales for the first time. Also, mind you, I've been whale watching, not in this exact area, but I've been whale watching before where it was like 40 degrees and like actively pouring down rain. We didn't see a whale once. And we're out on the boat for 3 hours. I think I threw up as well.
Of course you didn't.
You know what you should whale watch from is your car on the highway. Look out, see if you can see a whale. Don't go under the water. You're going to throw up.
You should go on YouTube and look at a video of a whale.
It's the same thing. You can tell we're not outdoorsy people. Back in the moment, we're cutting between this footage, and then we see Sarper finally sit down, slowly grab a paper bag, open it, and start hyperventilating into it. And then he starts yakking. He's like,
yeah.
And mind you, these people are all in the same, like, small covered area of the boat, so he starts throwing up, and Sophie and Shekinah are like, oh no. Shekinah's like, oh no, babe, are you okay? And Sophie's like, oh, like trying to look away, kind of. Poor things. So then after this, Sarper comes over to the two of them and sits with them and says, don't let me organize anything from now on. So I guess he's the one who had the idea to do the whale watching.
I felt so bad for him because you could tell he like really tried with the activity and it just like did not go well.
And he was so excited.
At least it didn't go well, not for his, like, he didn't fuck it up. It just was kind of bad in a way that could be bonding later.
Absolutely.
But it was unfortunate.
Anyway, Shekinah and Sophie laugh at his comment and say, yeah, we're not going to let you plan anything again. You know, whatever. Clearly, they don't hold it against him. It was just bad luck. In an interview of the couple, Shekinah says to Sarper that this would be a good moment for him to add up to his stand-up routine. The boat tour ends, and they're all so happy to be on land. They're, like, skipping to it. They're like, yes, get me off this boat. When they disembark, Sarper apologizes to Sophie for the day so far. Sophie says it's fine. None of them expected that. Honestly, Sophie really is a mature teenager, I feel. She's super calm, and I don't know. I like her. And in this conversation, Sarper continues and says to Sophie that he felt a lot of pressure for this day because he and Shekinah are planning a future together. And 2 years ago, when he met Shekinah, he was a different person. He doesn't explicitly say it, but I assume that he's trying to say that he regrets that the meeting with Shekinah's sister didn't go well. In response, Sophie explains that she doesn't get to have that many interactions with Sarper because she's in boarding school, so she wants to have a better impression of him and hopes that he can prove that to her and the family. And Sarper says, okay, you will see. So it's nice. Again, in a quick little interview with Sophie, she says to the camera that Sarper is being upfront about the fact that he regrets how he acted in the past and it wasn't good, and he thinks he's a different person, and she appreciates that and hopes that he's being genuine. In the moment now, Sophie tells Shekinah and Sarper that she kind of knows that they are looking for her to give approval right now, but she said she just can't give it yet because she just needs more time to get to know Sarper. Sarper says he understands it will take time, and Sophie says that she hopes that they will use the full 90 days. I think the implication is for that. And also use the full 90 days. Don't get married after 1 month. Let's actually give this the time that it needs, which feels very much like a very fair assessment. So we end the section with a little interview with Sarper, and he says that he needs to fix his reputation in Shekinah's family. Everyone has to approve of him to continue his relationship with Shekinah. Not Sarper being our emotionally aware and mature king. Like, I really was like, yeah.
I, like, don't know what happened in the last 2 years of his life, but I'm happy it did.
He is in his 40s. It should happen. Like, yes, this is the time. But if anything, you know, if we are to believe, which so far what we've seen, I think supports this. Again, if this changes, I'll eat my words, and we are very flexible in changing our opinion. And you know that we love to hate on a man, so that would totally be possible for us, even with our beloved Sarper.
It's true.
But it's kind of making me think of the other middle-aged to older men on this season. I'm thinking of Shawn, I'm thinking of Mark, and how they are so static in their mindset and so set in their backwards, goofy-ass ways. But Sarper, it seems, has really changed. So I think that it shows those dudes suck extra hard, because I do think it's possible.
I agree. And you know, I'm wanting to dunk on Mark and Shawn whenever I can, so I agree.
Yeah.
So we are back with my beloved Mark and Mina, love to hate, who are now leaving North Carolina, where they had this, like, you know, family barbecue from hell. So he is flying with Mina and Maria to Florida, where he used to live, to see some old friends and, quote, get our heads on straight. Florida, the place you go to get your head on straight.
I'll also tell you, they did not get their heads on straight.
Spoiler alert.
It got even more crooked.
Okay, this cracked me up so much. So they land in Florida. They're in West Palm Beach. Mina says, this reminds me of Cannes or Nice. Mark immediately is like, no, it's not like that. This is Florida. I'm like, you said New Hampshire was like Santorini. What do you mean?
Yeah, but Nice being like Florida.
But Palm Beach and Nice, there's like no And she's like, even listing, she's like, well, like the pink houses. And he's like, no.
I feel like the two of them are just having like a passive aggressive Diva-Off, because I think normally Mark would be into Mina feeling a bit at home.
Or like making a bid for connection.
Oh, but you know what? Now I'm thinking maybe not, because yes, it's kind of discussed later that he did kind of used to live in Florida, but it doesn't seem that he likes Florida. I think at one point he actually says like, ugh, that's why I don't like Florida, blah, blah, blah. So maybe the fact that the first time that Mina has been like, oh, this reminds me of something familiar that it seems like is a positive association for her. He's like, no. New Hampshire is like the things that you like.
Remember New Hampshire?
Yeah.
They have trees
great it
there.
is there?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So Mark shares that they will be meeting his friend Diana, who is his friend Philip's ex-wife. And he reveals that Diana is the one who introduced him to his ex-girlfriend, Jade. A previous inappropriately aged girlfriend who has a striking similarity to Mina. So Mina is kind of fairly skeptical about meeting Diana, but Mark insists they're going to have fun together.
Well, already it seems that specifically she's side-eyeing as in, oh, do you have a thing for Diana, or did you guys have a thing?
And like, why are you hanging out with your friend's ex-wife one-on-one?
Yes. And she kind of says that, and Mark is like, oh, well, yeah, she's my friend's ex-wife, but we hung out so much, we are also friends. Which, in the moment, I thought, yeah, I mean, I totally can imagine that with like certain friends I have. But turns out, in my opinion, he thinks he's friends with Diana. Diana does not seem to think she's really friends with Mark, which was a funny dynamic.
They visit Diana at her boutique, and Diana is like very gorgeous. I don't know how old she is. She seems older than Mina, but definitely younger than Mark.
Yeah, and like, again, a youthful energy. She seemed very vivacious and cool. They arrive at Diana's shop. Mina and her meet, and Mark explains to Diana that they had some, quote, family drama in North Carolina. So he brought Mina to Diana's shop to basically make up for it. And then Diana kind of jokingly points to Mina and asks, did you get the BMW yet?
Diana is such a strategic posture. It's actually crazy. She knows what she's doing every step of the way in this whole episode.
Loved her right off the bat. See, this is a manipulator who, unlike Jordan, is charming,
effective,
and using it for good.
She's like, oh, so have you got your BMW yet? And then
Mark is so embarrassed.
Yeah, Mark is like, ugh. And Mina's like, oh, what do you mean? And Diana's like, oh, well, like everybody gets a BMW with Mark. Like Jordan got a BMW and Jade got a BMW. And woo! Mark is like
gagged immediately.
Then Mina is like obviously weird about it. And Diana's like, well, I bet you're going to get a Maserati. Like she's like trying to like play it off, but it's like obviously weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then Diana requests that Mark and Maria leave to get ice cream so that she can have some one-on-one time with Mina. Now they're one-on-one. And okay, Diana is really passive aggressive. And I feel like I do appreciate that she's trying to reveal truth bombs to Mina, but I can't help but feel like her role in this is Jade's friend.
Oh, 100. Again, this is not Mark's friend.
But not just that, but she's also not doing any of this for Mina's sake.
Do you not think so? Because I did by the end.
Maybe we have just different perceptions. I thought she was kind of coming from a place of like, I'm Jade's friend and I'm on Jade's side, is a little bit how I felt. And I felt this because, for example, she goes, Mina, I'm actually really surprised you're here because you never came to visit. And I kept asking, why doesn't she visit? Like that kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, like you're actually
It's a little bitchy. So maybe the things that she said that were for honestly the benefit of Mina, I think it was, she probably pissed at Mark and also primarily looking out for her friend Jade, who she feels has been fucked over by this. And as a side effect, it's also beneficial for Mina. So I think she's benefiting Mina, but maybe that's not her primary objective.
So Diana like pretty immediately starts launching into saying that she has reservations about their relationship. And like a main reservation is that when Mark met Mina, he told Diana about her by showing her a picture and saying, I met this beautiful woman in France and she reminded me of Jade.
Tough stuff.
Which I believe. And that is really awkward and bad.
Bad sign.
And so then Mina at this point is like asking in an ITM like why Mark brought her to this store. Which I agree, because like it's also certainly, it's not 100% in Mina's best interest to be here, but it is 100% not in Mark's best interest for Mina to be here. So this was a weird miscalculation on Mark's part to bring her here. He's like, you're both women.
Literally. And he just thought, oh, well, you know, he didn't say any of this, but he's like, oh, Diana is younger. She's cool, which she does come across as like a cool, confident woman. And Mina has no friends in America. So, and probably Mina has similar types of friends in France. So I don't think that that was like a bad calculation, but it's like, okay, doofus, think about the fact that she's best friends with your ex who, whatever. And I'm like, of course Mark set this up. Of course he did.
So Diana then says in an interview with the camera that she pretty much thinks Mina's a rebound. And like that Mark was just lonely after breaking up with Jade.
And she also emphasizes that Mark moved really fast with Jade and it concerned her even at the time.
She says that multiple times. And she also seems to imply that Mark is moving too fast with Mina. Although I will say he's been with Mina for 5 years. So
it's also, again, it's like they already have a kid together. What's the difference of them getting married?
I know. I agree. It's kind of Jordan coded in that the sort of speed of the relationship concern is a bit Jordan coded.
Yeah. That said, concerns that she brings up later and tells Mina like deceptions, that I do think changes the situation. And that's why overall I'm on Diana's side. But just the part about being like, oh, it's moving too fast. I'm like, I don't know, they already have a kid together. But overall, I agree.
So then we see 2 side-by-side pictures of the 2 women. And it's actually like the same pose. It's a selfie of Mark with each of them. It's like hard to ignore the fact that they're both Black. They're both much younger than Mark.
And it's hard to ignore given that Mark explicitly said that Mina reminds him of Jade. Like, yes. if he just dated 2 young Black women in a row, I don't think that I can speak on that as like a white lady. Whatever. I think that it's fine for people to have opinions about that, but I'm not going to say it's concrete proof of anything problematic or weird. It could be a genuine coincidence. But it's the fact that he's drawing the parallels between these 2 women, and that's gross.
It's also just like, I feel famously weird when like you date someone and like their next person they date looks just like you. It's just weird, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So Diana at this point is like, she's just like fully offloading kind of devastating shit onto Mina.
Fucking hard. And Mina honestly took it well. I was like, I would have started crying.
And Mina's just like standing next to this rack of clothing. And Diana's just like, everything about your life is a lie.
And like kind of like smiling. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Diana also says that Mark would have definitely proposed to Jade if they were together longer. Mina at this point asks why they broke up, because her understanding is that they broke up because Jade did not want to live in New Hampshire.
Which Mina I think is really understanding now.
Diana says that they lived together in Florida, including with Jade's son. And Mina said that Mark told her that they never lived together.
Like explicitly. And she says that she asked multiple times and he always said no.
And Diana says that they moved in after a month or 2. Ooh, and her son. That's tough.
And her son.
So Diana also reveals there are additional reasons that they broke up besides Jade not wanting to live in New Hampshire, such as that one time Jade was home alone when Mark was like flying somewhere and he had left his iPad, which like was synced with his phone, and all his texts were on there.
This is how every cheater gets caught. It's specifically the iPad because of iCloud.
I mean, don't cheat, but if you're gonna do it, like, don't sync your iPad.
But of course, a fucking doofus middle-aged dude like Mark would do that. Like, of course, that's how he would get caught. He's so stupid.
So he was apparently texting a lot of other women, including with pictures. I don't really want to know what that means.
Oh my God.
But I'm also like, how is he finding so many women to talk to and interact with?
We need to know the dating app. We need to know the website. What freaky ass like age gap richmanfinder.net is it? I just am so freaked out by it. Also, was one of the women Mina, or was this before?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I was kind of confused about that. I think it was before.
I think so too. Because he met Mina in person. I have the feeling that he met Mina when he and Jade were broken up, at least like officially. And so Diana basically says she just thinks Mark is being honest, and that Mina should know these things before the wedding.
Honestly, I think that Diana is mad at Mark. I think it's not just that she kind of doesn't care about his friendship. I think it's that she's pissed about what he did to her friend Jade, her best friend Jade. And she's the one who introduced them. Like, that, how much guilt will you feel? And I imagine that she's honestly feeling vindictive toward him in a way that I understand.
I get, yeah.
She's actually, I get the vibe, enjoying potentially blowing up this relationship. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's like the morally right thing to do, but I'm just noticing that I do think that's the dynamic going on.
I agree. And she does have a certain like smugness when she's doing all this. Like, she's not like worried about being the bearer of bad news, I feel. Then she tells Maria that Jade was the one that got away
Mina.
from Mark. Fuck. I literally in my notes have Maria. Poor Maria's just eating ice cream. She's not involved in any of this. Okay, so Diana tells Mina that Jade was the one that got away from Mark. And importantly, that he was still trying to get back with Jade during the early stages of their relationship, i.e. Mark and Mina's relationship.
Oof.
Big oof.
Actually devastating. If I found that out, like...
And again, like, why does this woman have any reason to lie about this? Like, this is something that your best friend would know. Like...
Because it really doesn't seem like she wants Jade and Mark to get back together.
No, I just think she wants, like, the truth to be revealed.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think she's lying. I think it just is a reality that sucks so bad.
So then Diana suggests that Mina meet up with Jade and gives Mina Jade's number.
I could feel producers here.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but I could feel it.
No, I also, like, I'm all about getting to the source. So, like, I don't mind this.
Yeah.
And Mina is just really upset because, like, again, this is a recurring theme for her that she gave up so much to be with Mark. And she's now finding this out. And it's like, by the way, finding it out from a stranger in a boutique.
Yeah. And, like, Mina was, like, low-key, like, posed to, like, at the beginning of the conversation with Dinah, she's, like, about to reach to get clothes to try on. And then she's like, wait, what? You're about to tell me that the foundation of my relationship is completely different than what I thought? It's just genuinely devastating.
Yeah. This just cracked me up because Diana's, like, basically at this point, she's like, you know what, Mina? You know, you go ahead and you buy a bunch of outfits, like, and make Mark pay. And I'm like, okay, this is your store. This is in your best interest that this happened.
I was going to say, Diana had the perfect day. She got to finally shit on this guy who thinks they're friends, who she does not fuck with. And then she makes a fat fucking commission off of him with the girl.
And she's like, come on, go ahead, buy more. I'm like, you would like her to buy more, wouldn't you?
No, she was having the best day ever. Ever.
Truly. So they're, like, still not totally done discussing this when Mark and Maria come back. And it's kind of like this vibe.
Yeah. Like, Mina is in the middle of saying, well, when I meet up with Jade, and then Mark walks in carrying Maria, and she's kind of like has her eyes flash really big at Diana's like, oops. But I don't think he heard because he doesn't listen to women anyway, so he wasn't listening.
For sure not. So then it cuts to them in the car. Mark, Mina, and then Maria in the backseat. She's in one of her classic bad moods that she's not communicating about. And then Mark is like, what's wrong? You know, like, clueless.
Mina is more fussy than Maria the baby, I have to say.
It is so true. Maria's always chill in the back. So Mina admits to Mark that she's upset because he lied to her. And Mark has this very interesting, cagey response. He says, I don't know what Diana told you.
Already bad.
Yeah, I know. But I know I didn't lie to you about anything. But you tell me what she told you. It's like,
it's like, oh, so there's lies upon lies. Or at least half-truths.
Amazing. He's, like, not giving up anything yet. He's like, let's see which lie we're talking about. So then Mina says, you never told me you lived together with Jade. And Mark insists that he did tell Mina and also says, like, they never really talked about Jade. So
which one
like
is
a
it?
weird combo. Yeah, he's like, well, I did tell you, but also we never talked about it to begin with.
Also, Mark keeps laughing.
Yeah, he's giggling this whole time. It's like...
Mina's like, it's not funny. He's like, it's only funny because it's not true. Me when I'm caught lying. Like, me when I'm caught lying and I'm gecking. You know, like that thing that monkeys do where they look like they're smiling and it's actually they're about to bite you. He's like nervously like,
That feels accurate. So then Mina tells Mark that she's learned that she's like a substitute for Jade. And Mark is like, again, laughing. I'm laughing because it's not true. But then he's like fixated on, he's like, I never said substitute. He's like, I never used that word. It's like, okay, how about the concept?
I said replacement, not substitute.
I know. How about rebound? How about proxy? Whatever, you know? But like, he's like, well, I didn't use that one word. And then like Mina is just like trying to confront him on all these topics. And he's just being a bit sketchy. And like, she asks about the whole marriage part. And he's like, or the fact that, you know, Diana said that Mark wanted to propose to Jade. And Mark says, I never asked Jade to marry me. And Mina says, because you knew she'd never accept.
Ooh, ate that one up. Go, Mina.
I know. And then Mark just has this attitude. He's like, I'm done talking about this. Wonderful.
Great. One thing I'm thinking in this whole segment that we're wrapping up with Diana and with Mina then coming in fairly hot against Mark in the car is I'm thinking, finally, an episode with the women properly blaming Mark. After his fucking female family members are driving us crazy, being like, actually, Mina, everything's your fault.
Yeah, you're right.
This felt so satisfying. I was like, get him, girls. He's the one that sucks. He's the root of all evil in this situation.
I hate him so much. So Mina texts Jade to initiate a meetup. She asks Jade to meet for coffee to answer some questions about Mark. And Jade agrees to meet.
She's like, I'd love to. She's waiting for this.
Mina gets ready for this meeting. She looks gorgeous. She looks the best I've ever seen her look.
I think she's wearing the clothes that she bought at Diana's shop.
Probably.
Right? It was super cute. It's like all white outfit. Stunning.
Gorgeous. Mark is like, ooh, where are you going? She says, I'm going to meet Jade.
Whoa.
And Mark looks truly gagged.
But also downtrodden. He doesn't even try to fight it.
Oh, it's happening. It's really happening. And he's like, again, trying to do this thing where he's like, well, anything she'll tell you is probably a lie, but also I always told you the truth. But like, he's just like pre-spinning.
Me, like when my parents are going to parent-teacher night, and I'm like, well, whatever they tell you, it's lies.
If it's bad, it's a lie. But if it's good, then it's not a lie.
Yeah, I love that teacher.
Just let me know, and then I'll tell you if it's a lie or not. So, Mina then says in an interview with the camera that she just feels like she doubts everything about her relationship at this point, and that she will not marry a man who lies to her. And if she finds out Mark was lying, she will go back to Paris.
Good. Again, we will buy the plane ticket,
go
Mama.
Back,
let's go.
please.
Don't let Mark fly you back. He's going to divert.
We got a fly commercial.
Literally. You have to get away from that man.
So Mina goes to the restaurant to meet Jade. And of course, there's some stupid, like, will she show up or not? Of course she's going to show up. You guys just made plans the same day.
It's like the airport all over. Where are they coming from? Are they here? You're like, yes.
I will say we only see like a very far away shot of Jade. And then we see like a close up of like part of her like from behind. But what we can see, she looks equally glam. These are two like gorgeous glam women.
Yeah.
And you can also tell she's equally inappropriately aged.
They look like the same age.
Yes.
Maybe Jade looks younger even. I'm not sure.
I need to see them like side by side and like not just the picture that I saw like in real time. But there's definitely a sort of striking similarity there where I do believe replacement theory. No, not that. The substitute theory
has some weight. Honestly, great episode with them. I loved that.
I can't wait. By the way, they better show the meeting in the next episode. Producers, please don't fail me.
So now we are in Hattiesburg, Mississippi with Stevi and Mahdi. The two of them are going on a glass-blowing double date with two of Stevie's friends. So finally, he's going to be able to meet some friends. I think I was saying in the last episode, like, does she have friends? Why hasn't she introduced him to anyone? He must be so lonely. So I was happy to see this.
Can I say something that came out for me, though, with the glass blowing? I have a huge anxiety. What happens if you're blowing glass and you actually inhale?
Hey, glass blowers, pipe up.
Wait, no, you're out there.
Hello. So the friends' names are Megan and Adam. I think they're a married couple. It seems like Megan is really Stevie's friend, and then Adam is, the pet brought along.
Yes.
And this is, of course, their first time meeting Mahdi. And Stevie says in an interview that they even helped her pay for her plane ticket to go to Turkey to meet Mahdi in person for the first time, which is very generous and kind. Mahdi meets the two friends, very normal, just hi, how are you, everything like that. We get into starting the class, and the instructor for the glass blowing asks Mahdi and Stevie to select an accent color for their piece. I think they're making some kind of bowl. And Stevie suggests to Mahdi that they use a color that they'll probably use in their wedding decor. And the instructor is like, oh, when are you guys getting married? And they say that they don't know yet. And their body language is so awkward. They're not really looking at each other or touching. They're just kind of standing. Like, as you said in the last episode, they're just like two random people in a room together.
Yeah.
Like, no chemistry. And the instructor says, trying to make it normal, he's like, oh, well, at least you know who you want to marry. That's a big part of it. And Stevie says, maybe. Like, as a joke, but immediately, she's Stevie, and I'm really not saying this to be mean, and I do think she would say this about herself, like, she is so awkward, like.
I know. There's some jokes you just like really can't make. Like I think like making like a breakup joke is like not really funny
when you haven't set the date.
ever. Yeah.
No. And she's immediately like, I'm kidding, while grabbing onto Mahdi and like laughing awkwardly. And Mahdi just quietly goes, I hope so. It's just weird. I don't know. Like, again, like this could just be like you're socially awkward and it was a weird joke. And honestly, Mahdi is also a little bit of an awkward person. So, but on top of everything else going on between them, the vibe is so weird. These two people should not be getting married, but I think that they will. We'll see. They select the color blue and make the piece. And it was pretty cool. You know, they were doing glass blowing. At one point, Mahdi is really nervous to get close to the super hot fire. Like, glass blowing is quite dangerous. I would feel the exact same. And Stevi thinks it's so funny. She says she's the opposite of this. She's kind of like a daredevil. So anyway, more importantly, Stevi's friend Megan asks if they'll want to use the bowl they're making today at their wedding. I don't really know how you'd use a bowl at the wedding, but whatever. Like, maybe don't hold the rings. I was like, what does that mean?
Like a huge bowl.
Oh, the wedding bowl.
Rings.
You know, the classic, the classic part of any American wedding. Anyway, Stevi says she doesn't know, and Megan is like, you haven't told me all the details. She's being friendly, but clearly trying to like get Stevi more engaged. She's a little bit confused. Like, you haven't told me all the details, like about the wedding. And Stevi says, I don't know all the details yet, in a kind of defensive way. And Megan says, I'm your best friend. You're supposed to tell me everything. The vibe is just, again, awkward. This whole situation is very strange. It almost feels like when you hang out with your friends, like a double date, and then it's so clear that the other couple had a fight right before this. And the vibe is just like, not bad, but just weird. Like, they're prickly and trying to be nice, but it's just, things are not landing because they're like so defensive about stuff. It's very awkward. So Megan now pulls Stevi to go to the gift shop to talk. And she asks what's going on with Mahdi. And Stevi says, she just jumps right into it. Because Stevi says if there's any doubt, she won't get married. And before Mahdi got here, she had no doubts. But now that he's gotten here, that's changed. And again, I just have to say, yeah, as you get to know him.
When I knew him for 1 week, I had no doubts. Now that I've known him for 3 weeks, I have some doubts.
It's like, yeah, listen to that. That's actually you realizing that you two are not compatible, or maybe you don't like him that much, and that's okay. That's why maybe this K-1 visa exists for these people where it's like, hey, so you guys don't know each other. It's a great time for you to live together and also have a conversation before getting married. I just want to emphasize, it's not as if they're going through life events that are really tough and kind of external issues that are causing tension in the relationship that they could theoretically work through. I really think these two people are just getting to know each other better and realizing that they don't get along that well.
They're just not compatible.
They're just like very different people. And that's okay, but maybe don't marry that person. So simultaneously, while the two women are talking in the gift shop, Mahdi and Adam, back in the other part of the class area, start to talk. Adam asks how it's been being in the U.S., and Mahdi tells him that it's been harder than he thought and he's feeling homesick. Adam offered the advice to not hold it in because you have to communicate that stuff.
I was like, Adam, you don't know what's been happening so far.
I'm like, Adam, you sweet summer child. You are objectively correct, but unfortunately you don't know that your wife's friend Stevi is horrible at communication. So that is objectively right, but that lady's not ready for it. So Maddie says that the problem is he tries to tell Stevi and it just ends up backfiring on him. And Adam says it's probably that she's nervous. She knows what he's given up to be here. And this is like just trying to defend your friend, but objectively your friend's in the wrong. And you're like, well, yeah, she has good intentions. And it's like, girl, unfortunately, Maddie still doesn't have someone who truly he can vent to, because Adam is playing the role of that's my wife's best friend, so I'm going to be on her side. And it's like, I do think that that's fair, but it just emphasizes to me that Maddie doesn't have anyone he can talk to in person. The only people who he could talk to are Megan and Adam, or Perry, or Stevie's brother. And it's like, yeah, you need someone who you meet on your own. And I just was feeling for him because he's trying to be like, oh, actually, now that you bring it up, this is why I can't do that. And Adam's like, well, it's because she loves you. And it's like, okay, not actually helpful. So Stevi tells Megan in their little chat that maybe she's had it backwards, thinking that Maddie has to make up his mind, but maybe it's the other way around. And Stevi almost starts to cry here. She's like, I'm not going to cry, and kind of composes herself. And she says that she deserves 100%. And if she doesn't have that from Mahdi, then she's not going to give that. And Megan says that she agrees.
Fair, yeah.
I'm glad that she has that perspective. But Stevie, I do think, is someone who is somewhat desperate for this relationship to work.
I agree. And I kind of wonder why. I know, which I'm so surprised we like never hear about them. I mean, I'm sure that like they didn't want to be on TV for whatever reason, which I totally respect. I just think it's interesting that like it's never a topic that she's a mom. The whole relationship is odd. I mean, there's not even more to say. It's just in a weird vibe.
Yeah. And I do understand what Mahdi is getting from this relationship, which is, I mean, being in the US, which he has expressed that he wants to do. But for Stevie, I mean, just given that we don't think that their relationship is that great or going to last, it's like, what is she getting from it?
I don't know. I guess just like the affirmation of being with like a handsome guy.
Right. Okay.
Like the validation that comes with that.
And I get that, but I don't know, the writing is on the wall. If she goes through with the marriage, it makes me nervous because I don't think that she would be able to be okay with it being a transactional relationship where it's basically for the green card. And that's not wrong, but I think it's just true that she wouldn't be okay with that. And I worry that that would kind of be the main motivation from Mahdi and that would be hidden from her. And that makes me uncomfortable and sad for her.
I agree.
So now, like, the beginning section was a little bit of a bummer, but we pick back up because this was like...
Because our guy Perry was in it.
Our boy Perry, Stevie's dad, was in it. It's like a new day, and Perry is coming to meet Maddie at Stevie's house to take him to a monster truck show.
Fabulous.
Hell yeah. This is what this show is about. It's almost a documentary on American culture from a non-American lens, and I found it fascinating even as an American.
So Mahdi like re-triggered my pet peeve of him because he's like, I don't have any idea about monster trucks. We don't have them back in Iran.
I could guess.
He's just out here saying whatever. Anyway.
And of course, on its face, like, that's fine. But we are not seeing any of the other non-American partners in the other couples doing it this much. So it just feels very stark.
I'm going to flag more that he said in this episode too, so don't you worry.
Throughout this whole thing, I kept calling it different things. Is it a monster truck show, rally, game?
I've always heard rally, but I had show in my notes. I think they called it a show. Well, but you know why I think it was low-key a show, though? The monster trucks weren't fighting. They were just doing little jumps.
Do they fight normally?
Yeah.
Do they like
go
joust?
Over each other?
Do they have like the stick?
No, literally, the monster trucks, they climb on top of each other.
How do you know about this?
I just seen it and stuff.
Sorry, I'm not cultured like you are. I know that monster trucks exist, but I just kind of knew that they have big wheels and they bounce around. And maybe they go down like a cliff sometimes and you see if they flip.
Oh, well, they crush regular cars.
I'm speechless. Do you think that all of the cars in Perry's shop that were so run down were the crushed cars from Monster Truck Rally?
Honestly, that would explain a lot.
Anyway, so they are going to a monster truck show. Maddie walks outside the house to meet Perry, who's pulled up in his, not monster, but his regular truck. And so he says, "Hi, Dad," which is cute. And Perry laughs, and in an interview is like, "Seems a little strange, someone call you Dad that you don't know good." But I don't know, whatever. I think he kind of liked it. So Perry and Maddie start to drive together, silently, by the way. Not one word was exchanged during this whole, they're just sitting there like, still. And in an interview, Mahdi says that he plans to re-propose to Stevie to show that he is 100% committed. And it shows that he's brought the ring with him. And he says that's really important for him as part of that to ask Perry for his blessing. And he says that this is a thing in Iran too. And that he plans to do that today at the monster truck rally. And yeah, I can't think of a better setting to ask for a parent's permission to propose than at a monster truck rally. This is a good move.
For Perry, this might be ideal.
Actually true. You know, he's reading the room correctly, but I was like, interesting. But actually, smart.
Also, one thing I'm going to flag, I'm obsessed with the height difference between these two men.
Perry is like 4'10".
He's like half of Mahdi's height. I know.
It was crazy. So they arrive at the monster truck rally, and Maddie in his interview says he thinks he's in the most American place he could be, with hot dogs and American flags everywhere, and it's so noisy. He says he doesn't fit in here. The people in attendance at this event are just living in a different world, and he feels like an imposter. And Maddie, if it's any consolation, I'm American, and I would feel just the exact same way. I want him to know we're all not all of America is like this. You're going to like the most America of the America. And dude, watching the footage of this monster truck event genuinely felt like culture shock. It felt so dystopian to me because the announcer says, and I quote, "Everyone, please stand. We would like to pay tribute with the greatest song ever written for the greatest country in the world." And everyone stands and they play the fucking Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
I was shocked that we didn't get footage of all the MAGA hats that I bet were around this theater. I was just like, holy shit. I thought they were going to play We Are Charlie Kirk. I swear to God. Like, it was like...
You know what? If it were filmed this year, they would have.
I know that before sporting events, it's quite normal in America, which I think is weird as fuck, to play the national anthem, which is the Star Spangled Banner. But something about emphasizing, like, the greatest country in the world. I was just like, holy shit, I would be really freaked out.
Well, I couldn't even think about that because there was such a bitch eating crackers moment for me that came right after. That was all I cared about.
Get into it.
So first of all, Mahdi goes, they started playing this song and everyone seems to be loving it. I guess it's a popular American song. First of all, I think Mahdi knows what the song is. But
yes.
Then he goes, you know, we don't hear the American anthem in Iran. Oh, really? I don't fucking hear any other country's anthem ever, except at a sporting event, which is what he says. We only hear it at sporting events when the American team is playing. Yeah, that's when you hear other countries' anthems.
But it also made me think, okay, so you know that because you've heard it before? So you know what it is.
So true. Ugh, Mahdi, shut up. I'll own this one. This is just my personal vendetta against him. I just feel he's overdoing it with the, we don't have that. Okay, I totally get, like, monster trucks. Like, even if you phrased it as, like, oh my God, this is so American, it's such a culture shock, fine. But they're like, we don't have that where I'm from. I'm like, yeah, I know.
But again, I really wonder, yes, it feels very funny, like, how much he's bringing it up. But again, how much are in the other couples, the foreign spouse bringing up stuff like this, and then the producers are just choosing not to cut it in? But then it's like, because Mahdi is from Iran, and for so many Americans, that's like the poster child of, like, how do you phrase it? Like anti-America, kind of.
Yep.
And I think it's almost this conservative vibe of the producers being like, look, guys, Iran is so weird. They don't even play the American national anthem there. And you're like, yeah, I can actually believe that. So, or just always cutting in, look, a cultural difference with Iran. In Iran, you can't do anything. And, like, Iran has a huge, like, humanitarian or, like, human rights crisis. Like, I'm not saying that that's, like, wrong, but it's just interesting for American producers to be like, in this day and age, in this American political climate, to be like, yeah, America, like, I don't know, like, emphasizing
it's
how much better it is.
There's just a weirdness about it. And then it's like a monster truck rally.
So now they start showing footage of the actual monster truck race, like it's begun after singing the national anthem. And at one point, one of the trucks is a fucking school bus. Did you see that?
I did. They were very non-threatening monster trucks.
I don't know. It almost felt campy to me, as in I felt like, oh, is monster truck racing kind of similar to drag race?
Drag for straight people.
Yeah. Something about, like, it was almost like a reveal, or, like, I don't know, like, oh, it's a school bus monster truck. I don't know. It felt very within the same wheelhouse, but more repressed.
I could see that, honestly. I really could.
In an interview, Mahdi says that the trucks revving their engines is the loudest sound he has ever heard. And thank God he had little earplugs with him. You know, Perry didn't give a shit. His ears were raw dogging it. Like, he can't hear anything anyway. It's too far for him. And then Mahdi says in his interview he kept waiting for the actually exciting part. And after a while, he just realized that people just like watching the cars go around.
It was honestly really lame. Like, they were doing these jumps, but the ramps were, like, tiny. The cars were getting, like, no air. Like, it was just kind of lame. It was not extreme.
It wasn't. So they leave the event, and Mahdi says to Perry that it was really great. So he's good at lying, we can see. And he appreciates Perry's time, and Perry's immediately, like, uncomfortable. Like, oh, it's like, he can't handle even just, thank you for your time. I appreciate spending the day together. Like, even that level of emotional honesty from another man is too much. And Mahdi goes on and says, especially he's grateful because he doesn't have any friends or family here, and it makes him feel better. It means a lot. And I think that's genuinely sweet. And Perry's just like, okay. Like,
okay.
And Mahdi tells Perry there's something important he has to say. And quote, I'm fixing to propose to Stevie really soon.
Not the southern twang.
He's already adapting. I thought that was really cute. I'm fixing to propose. He explains that he thinks his initial proposal to Stevie wasn't as good as she was expecting because the Iranian proposal style is different and he would like Perry's blessing and, quote, permission. Sophie, I know you have some thoughts. Go off.
Just again, I think it's because we don't do it like this in Iran. Or you just didn't know your partner well enough to know what she would like after 1 week of knowing her.
Which feels fair and maybe a sign that it shouldn't have happened.
Because I will say, even American women are not a monolith.
Yeah.
I would not like some big letters on the beach, which some people would love. So
Yeah.
I feel like that, oh, it's because I'm from Iran. It's a little bit like, okay, or it's because you didn't do the research on this specific person.
Well, it made me curious if specifically it's that he didn't give her a ring because he has prepared a ring from Iran that he then shows to Perry. And I haven't looked at Stevie's finger or anything. I wonder if there's no ring involved and that's what she was upset about.
Oh, it could be. That could be.
Because I was like, why would he get her a second ring?
You're right. Maybe the whole, like, we don't do it like this in Iran. The only thing that would make sense is, oh, we don't propose the ring.
But I found it really funny that he's like, he tells Perry that he would like his blessing and, quote, permission. And I was like, okay, you're already engaged. So I was a little bit confused by this. It's like retroactively allowing Perry to basically say no if he wants to, which I was like, well, what if he says no? Well, what? Like, you're going to become
like,
unengaged?
I'll go back to Iran.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's so funny to me. And then Perry makes a noise or he says, I don't know. But he kind of goes, it was between like, and I don't know. It's like, And I was like, is that just a sound or are you saying I don't know? I could not tell what that was trying to communicate. Mahdi then explains that he brought a ring from Iran and he shows it to Perry. Perry says it's very pretty. But then Perry asks how many days they've actually spent together.
And I was like, go off, Perry. That's a fair question.
It is a fair question. And I was like, Mahdi, why did you open the floodgates for him to be able to like poke holes? Again, what are you going to unpropose? It's kind of funny. And Mahdi explains a week in Turkey a year ago and about 2 weeks now in the U.S. And woof. Perry says, what we're thinking. That's not a lot of time to get to know somebody. Not Perry being like the voice of reason. I was like, wow, that's how you know like this season's men are so bad. Is like this most likely Trump supporting conservative dad in the South is we're like, and he's so right.
He is, I know.
So Perry asked Mahdi directly if he's having second thoughts about being in the U.S. because he's heard certain things about him being homesick. And Mahdi explains it was honestly a passing thought in the moment that he told Stevie from just feeling like he was missing his family.
Just when he arrived that he realized the weight of being here.
And explicitly, guys, they're always referencing this literal one comment he made the day he arrived. It's not like, oh, he made that comment and then like he's made multiple comments since then that makes Stevie suspicious. It's literally this one thing when he was jet lagged. It's so crazy that she's harping on it so much and like telling everyone about it. Anyway.
I really do think that what she told her friend about like, you know, at first I was worried about if Mahdi is going to be ready and now I'm worried if I'm going to be ready. Like, I think this is kind of what that is too, is like really harping on it to take the pressure off of herself. Because like ever since that conversation, like, I mean, okay, aside from a few other weird conversations, but like on the homesickness topic, like it's kind of been fine with Mahdi, but she's like really harping on it. It makes me wonder if it's like to deflect a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It's almost using it as deflection and also a reason to not explicitly just, even with herself, be honest about, yeah, I'm getting to know him and I'm realizing we're not that compatible.
Yes.
So Perry says that he understands that Mahdi will be missing his homeland, but he basically wants to know Mahdi's commitment level in spite of that. And already Perry is showing more understanding of Mahdi's situation than Stevie. He's like, I get that you'll miss your family and where you're from, but are you committed? And that's really what matters. Whereas Stevie is like, you can't even miss them.
Miss anybody.
That's a problem. Anyway, Mahdi tells Perry that he isn't going back to Iran. He loves Stevie and promises he'll take good care of her forever. Perry says it seems like Mahdi's heart is in the right place and his head is getting there. And Perry says that about himself, he is sick and not going to be here forever. So he wants to know that Stevie is being taken care of. And he just asks that Mahdi be good to her. So I guess Mahdi got the blessing as much as he could, which, okay. It wasn't that
even mean. I mean, it was such a non-thing. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's nice, but again, I really don't understand what this could possibly mean given that they're already engaged. But
Yeah.
sure. Oh, that wraps up their section. We'll see what happens next time. Hopefully something, because there's a lot of nothing going on with this couple, I have to say.
Truly. But speaking of a whole lot of something, we're still at the same hotel in Ensenada. Matt and Amani slept in the bed. Ani slept on the couch.
Talk about the hierarchy.
I know. And it's very awkward because it's like all one room. And like Matt is like loudly asking Amani how she's feeling. And they're having this like kind of loud hug. And Ani's just like on the couch.
And kind of like peeking up over the back part of the couch, looking at them, and then like looking away and just going on her phone. And she kind of looks annoyed.
It's very awkward. So Matt says he's gonna go get breakfast, and Amani in this like whiny voice is like, "Can I come with you? Like, please." The implication being that she does not want to be alone with Ani.
And super loud so that Ani can hear. And yeah, very like immature.
And so then to the camera, Matt says that last night was a disaster and that everyone took a step back. Interesting. And then Ani tells the camera that they didn't speak overnight and that she stayed on the couch to get space. And I'm still dying at the concept of like getting space in a singular hotel room. But basically Ani says that she thinks Amani is too explosive and angry and she doesn't need that in her life. Meanwhile, Amani wants to get Matt one-on-one to get his thoughts on the fight that happened in the last episode.
Because Matt wasn't forthcoming the night of about how he was feeling.
And he also like wasn't really a part of like the main conflict was between the two women.
One thing that I really hated about this episode was Matt was starting to make sense in a way that I was like, no, this can't be. It's like some alternate reality. I was like, why is he the one looking so mature? Like, ladies, you're pissing me off because don't make me side with him.
I experienced that a little bit as well.
So Matt and Amani drive to go. It's just kind of funny. I'm like, what's up with this hotel? They don't have breakfast? Whatever.
True. It's like a desert kind of remote place, but they should have breakfast.
I thought that was strange. Right. It's not as nice as maybe we thought it was. Anyway, so Matt and Amani go and drive to a sit-down restaurant, which I thought was funny. I thought going out, popping out to get breakfast was going to be
a bakery or something and get some pastries and come back.
Ani is awake on the couch, probably starving, like I would be every morning, and they're going for a sit-down meal. I was like, okay, interesting. It's already like a level of inconsideration, I have to say, for Ani's well-being and situation. And then they get out of the car, walk up to the restaurant, and Amani says, 2 chairs, perfect for us. I just thought it was kind of funny to emphasize like 2 equal perfect. I don't know. Maybe some people could say I'm reading into that too much, but given just the general vibe, I thought it was a funny thing for her to remark on.
It also certainly was interesting to see her taking like solace in there being just the 2 of them. And I'm like, oh, but I thought you were a perfect throuple and you should do everything together. So
yeah, interesting.
I thought subsets aren't allowed to hang out. So like Amani basically confronts Matt at this point and she says she thinks he's not as into the relationship with Ani as she is. It's just this very awkward vibe. They're like eating tacos and like it's really a weird place for this confrontation. But it also is like, why is that the benchmark? I'm confused by that. And I'm confused by, I almost feel like because in the last conversation, Ani admitted she's like more into Amani. I almost feel like Amani is now trying to do some weird thing of like, wait,
am I cheating on him?
Yeah, like, are we 2 women just like having a relationship without him? I kind of feel like that's what's being investigated here.
That's an interesting insight and I think has some weight because, I mean, what I took from this is I was so confused because I thought, okay, so Amani, first you're mad that you think that Ani and Matt might have a stronger connection, and now you're mad that you think Matt and Ani don't have a strong connection? What is going on? What is it?
She is definitely looking for problems, but
what you said is a really good point that she's coming off of that crazy night argument where that was revealed or Ani said that to her. And that makes more sense because, yeah, it doesn't make sense with what Amani has been saying before, but with the new information she has from Ani, I think that, okay, there's at least some logic to it, even if it's crazy in general.
And so Amani says, quote, this is to Matt. She says, last night was very emotional for me. You didn't say anything. Based on the way that you reacted, you don't have the feelings for her that I have for her. And Matt said, I care about her, but this is getting a little ridiculous. And that's when I was like, Damn it, Matt. I agree.
God damn it. I thought that he was just a bumbling buffoon. And I do think he might be, but because Amani in particular is so insane, he was starting to talk some sense.
I know. And so Amani wants to know if Matt still wants to move forward with the relationship with Ani. And Matt says he doesn't think anything was answered yesterday, which I guess he's saying like they shouldn't make decisions based on like one fight.
And it's also making me realize that it seems like Amani and Matt have two similar but actually kind of fundamentally different problems with Ani. I think that Amani's problem is that she wants to be prioritized the most in the relationship by both Matt and Ani. And she feels that Ani is prioritizing Matt above her, and that's what she's mad about. I think that Matt is mad because he thinks that Ani has deceived them into thinking that everyone knew about them when actually no one knows about them, and he's worried that she's a liar and tricking them. And I think that those are actually different things and show a lot about maybe both of their psychology, especially Minnie.
I think that's a really good point.
But I think that they think they have the same issue with her.
They're talking over each other in a way. They're talking about different things. You're right.
Yes.
And so Matt says in an interview with the camera that he feels on the fence about whether the relationship is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. And to your point, he says he's worried Ani isn't honest. And then Matt says, what I think is really interesting is he tells Amani that getting involved with Ani is so much harder when he sees his wife hurting. And Amani says she doesn't realize her conflict with Ani was pushing Matt away from Ani. I think her thinking was any conflict between her and Ani would push her, Amani, away from the duo that is Matt and Ani. Whereas Matt is kind of clarifying, like, no, I'm your husband. So if you have conflict with her, then I also have an issue with her, basically.
Interesting.
Which is just kind of like establishing, again, the like duo within the trio dynamic, which is really odd.
And that these people, I think, are not actually people who want to or should be polyamorous. Because, look, I don't know which of these options, if either of them is the correct one for polyamory to be healthy, but I just know that they have the wrong mindset going into this.
What's the point? I know, it's so odd. And so at this point, Amani like keeps pushing Matt to confirm whether or not he loves Ani. And he keeps dodging the question. I don't know if you picked up on this. He keeps being like, what? Like, and then finally he says he doesn't love Ani in the way he loves Amani.
And then we cut to a couple interview, and Matt explains that he's here to protect Amani from being hurt. And then Amani says, do you love Ani? And he skirts around it. It's like, it's not that I don't care for her. And then Amani asks again, and Matt says that if he compares it to the love he feels for Amani, it can't compare to that.
And then Amani says, you said you love her and now you don't. Isn't that the point of this whole thing? But it's also like stupid because it's like, I don't know. It's just really as if you can't get new information that changes your mind.
Yes, but at the same time, it does sound like, I think Amani is right, because isn't that what a polyamorous relationship is supposed to be? And that is how Amani was presenting the relationship in previous interviews. So it's interesting that, what does that mean? Is it that Matt said that he loved Ani and then is realizing, oh, this isn't, it can't compare to the love I feel for Amani. So I'm realizing I'm not actually in love with her. Or is it that Matt was always like, yeah, I like her so much. I love spending time with her. And then Amani just assumed he was having the same kind of love that she's feeling for Ani. I don't know.
I would be so curious because I kind of could see it being either. And like, I would definitely believe that Matt like said one thing and is now rolling it back. But I also could see Matt being like, I loved her, quote unquote, when I thought this was just like a fun, flirty thing. And now that it's like actually like stressful and dramatic, I'm not into it. I could see that happening. So I'm curious to see kind of where this goes.
Yeah.
Okay, they finally bring back food for Ani. You can tell they were gone for like an hour plus.
Ani looks really like almost hangry. She's like, okay, I'm really hungry. Thank you.
And it's just awkward. Like it's just really bad vibes. And Amani says to Ani that it wasn't her intention to come so hard at her last night, and then Ani basically says she just doesn't like the explosiveness. And then Amani says some bullshit about like she was only angry because she cares. Like, I could be more relaxed if I didn't care. And like,
Girl, shut the fuck up. That's not healthy. It's so gross.
Manipulative and crazy. And then Ani says, I think to the camera.
No, she says it to Amani.
Oh, she says to her face?
Mm-hmm. She says, if you don't have relax, you thinking we can stay together? No.
Damn. And then Amani says, I don't want to be nobody's secret, especially if I put my whole life on the line for you. And again, I'm like,
and she starts crying.
What does that mean? Your whole life on the line?
I mean, Amani is clearly such a fucking dramatic person. So it's like, okay, girl, you weren't like about to die over something. But I think that I'm really assuming this has to do with finances. The more I think about it, it's the only thing that can make sense of like the sacrifice I've made and stuff like that.
The only thing is later she mentioned something about like wanting to make sure the time away from her kids is worth it. But I'm also like, sacrifice, you're gone for 2 weeks.
On a vacation.
I agree. It's weird to leave your kids for 2 weeks for this because this situation is weird. But like, I feel like I've been away from my parents for 2 weeks before as a child. Like, I don't think it's that crazy.
Well, if you see it negatively impacting your kids, how about you make the decision to stop doing it if you really care that much?
That too.
No one's forcing you to do this.
And then Ani, again, at this point, says she needs time to like, tell her family about them. And Matt points out fairly that the time is coming up
hate to say
because they are about to meet her family like the next week.
I mean, yeah, I really was like, God damn it, Matt's right. And what is Ani talking about?
She keeps saying, I need time. And it's like, the time to express you need time is before they booked a concrete trip to see your family.
Yeah, before the camera crew flew out. What's going on?
Like, I'm confused. Like, it'd be one thing if she said, I'm not ready for you to meet my family. But she's like, you can meet my family. I'm just not ready for them to know who you are yet.
Yeah, what is this meeting going to look like? Is she thinking that like, oh, the three of us can have like dinner with my family? We'll just say that Matt is my boyfriend, then Amani is just like his friend. And then imagine like Matt and Amani are like holding hands and like kissing at the table. And it's like, guys, like what's the logistics of this?
It's not being thought through. It's really not being thought through. And then Matt says to the camera, he says, I'm not here to prove myself. She's here to prove herself. Whatever that means. And then he also says that he and Amani have opened up their entire lives to Ani and that he needs to see Ani sacrifice things. And I'm like, again, this language, I'm like, what are we referring to?
I feel like there's a lot not being said.
I agree. And this is the one couple I guarantee was not on a prequel show.
No flashback clips.
Why is there no context? There's no excuse. You can't say like, oh, they already know. We don't know.
And also, arguably, they shouldn't be on the main season right now. They should be on before the 90 days because there's no K1 visa even involved yet. So crazy.
Before the nothing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And then Amani says she wants to make sure the time away from her kids is worth it. At least that's a concrete complaint. Like, I can appreciate that,
Sure.
And then Matt gets back into his like weird, unhelpful mode. He says, y'all feel better. And Minnie says,
ew, 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 ew.
You know what would make me feel better? A quickie. Just kidding.
And she like snorts. She's like, just kidding.
Just kidding. But not.
It's
so gross.
And again, like, it didn't even feel like sexy, fun joke. Like, it felt awkward. Like, it didn't land. Like, I was just like, how do you have like a joke that doesn't land with your husband and girlfriend? I feel like that's who's supposed to always laugh at your jokes no matter how bad they are. She like felt awkward. And I was like, what?
You're so right.
It's so weird. Anyway, I guess the implication is then they banged all together. So it's disturbing.
I'm sure in a nasty, nasty way.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're back with Greg and Joan. So we start with Joan leading Greg in a honestly really awkward public workout.
Did you think it was awkward? It's just like working out at the park.
I thought it was awkward because Greg couldn't do anything. He couldn't do one singular lunge, so he was like falling over all over the place in the park.
It was basically just Joan doing her workout and then Greg trying to keep up.
Joan then says in an interview with the camera that she gained weight in the few weeks she's been in the US, which I did notice it was 11 days because it was 79 days remaining. And she says like it's kind of upsetting to her that she's gained weight, but Greg just like says he likes her having a thicker booty. And Joan says she wants to work out more so she can wear a tight wedding dress because if she gains more weight, she'll have to wear a tent.
Yeah.
The body talk with this one.
I don't love it. And also, I thought it was funny that she's like, so I can fit into my wedding dress. I'm like, that you haven't bought?
I know. I thought we were just discussing like what's the budget for it.
Yeah. I mean, I get once you buy it. Sure.
Yeah, it's like you can just buy a bigger size if you need. Life hack, buy a bigger size. At this point, also, I just have to point something out. And I am sorry to be like a body shaming Greg in this way. But one detail about Greg's appearance is he's thinning on top. His hair, he's losing his hair.
Sure.
And he has sort of a comb over. And I guess the sweatiness combined with the wind has caused his comb over to be up directly, like completely vertical on top of his head, like a bird's plume, like a cockatoo.
Like Tintin?
Yeah, it was like much more extreme.
Oh, that'll be a screenshot.
Just loved the look of that. So Greg is like basically saying, oh, it's so great that we're working out, and he offers to get gym memberships. And Joan asks how much that cost. Greg says, oh, between $10 and $250. I don't know why this cracked me up, but like, it's just such a funny answer. Like, Joan is trying to ask like how much they would pay for a gym membership. And he's like, it could be $250. She's like, well, obviously we're not going to pay $250.
And he's like, oh yeah, I would never pay that. I'm like, why did you bring it up to say
Why'd
10?
you mention it then?
Get the Planet Fitness membership and let it be. Don't bring up Equinox.
So while they're working out, Greg asks Joan if she still wants to go back to Uganda. And Joan says she will go back if he doesn't get a real job. And Greg says it really hurts that she would say that.
I don't get over it. I don't care. Sorry, but it hurts her that you're not getting a fucking job. Like, okay, yeah, that can hurt your feelings, but you have to recognize that her feelings have already been hurt way worse than that. So don't even bring it up. That's annoying.
I know. Greg then shares he did get a job interview for another state job. I'm like, okay, so you're going to accept this one, but not the other one. Whatever.
But also I was shocked that he already got, not an offer, but a job interview with another state job. I'm like, wow, because I thought it would take a lot longer. And I'm like, damn, like his strategy is not going to change because unfortunately he keeps failing up.
I know.
Or I guess fortunately, but it's like, damn, like it's going to be so hard for him to learn any better habits because he keeps just like skating by.
And the state job, by the way, that he is interviewing for is facilities assistant.
No idea what that means.
I don't know either, but I looked it up to see the salary. And there's a range, but like in New York City, a New York State facilities assistant makes around $50,000 a year. I'm assuming it's a bit less on Long Island.
Yeah, maybe like 40, 45.
Like I saw like 46, whatever. Which again, I'm not trying to shit on him, but like I don't think he's being realistic about his salary and his goals. Because you really can't be buying a house that easily on a $46,000 solo salary.
Of course, but it's, as we said earlier, it's like, yeah, that goal is stupid. Sorry, it's just not realistic for your lifestyle.
And it's like, I'm happy that he's getting a job. Any money is good. But I'm just like, I'm worried about him making that level of income, which is significantly below the median income on Long Island. And then he's like, well, renting is a waste of money. I'm only going to buy. I'm like, okay, you're living with Lucille for another 15 years.
No, but I will say once Joan is able to get a job, even if they're both making that money on Long Island, they could survive. Like they could live a life.
Once Joan gets a job. But I'm just I guess I'm worried about the interim where she's waiting for a green card, to be explicitly clear. Like he's acting like, oh, once I get a job, like we'll move out tomorrow. I just don't think that's realistic.
Well, right. I mean, that's just not going to happen. But to push back just slightly, I have to say actually that if that is the salary range, I am glad that he is not looking at that and thinking, oh, it's too little for something I could do. Because to be honest, that is so much better than $0. And I bet they have benefits.
No, it is. And I'm really happy for him. I'm not trying to shit on the salary. I'm just recognizing he has these visions sometimes of being like the sole provider. Like I feel like he wants to be the like classic American, dad who brings in the income. And like he's talking about having 10 kids and buying a house. Right. And I'm like, none of that's going to happen on $46,000 a year.
Like maybe after 15 or 20 years, you could buy a studio or a 1-bedroom.
Yeah. I just think he has this vision that once he gets a job, like all the pieces are going to fall into place for him. But the pieces that he's looking for all require more money than that. That's all I'm trying to say. Like,
no, I
hope he gets the job. It's definitely good to get a job. But I also think once he gets the job, he's going to have another awakening of like, what? I can't buy a house tomorrow?
I agree.
Anyway, so he reveals that he has the interview and Joan says, I hope you don't screw it up. And Greg says, why would you say that?
And like, was it a little bit mean of Joan? Yeah, a little. But
was it justified?
But yeah. I also understand why she's taking this quote unquote hard ass approach with him, because it seems to be the only thing that he responds to.
I know.
And he's like, what? That hurts my feelings. But look, he has a job lined up.
You're right.
And I really get the vibe from Joan that this is not naturally how she wants to act. I don't think Joan is a mean person. I don't think that she's vindictive. And I think that she's almost acting so that Greg gets his fucking shit together, because unfortunately he won't do it otherwise. And it seems like this is the only strategy that's working, as much as I bet she doesn't like doing it. Just guessing.
Someone's gotta be the adult here. And I feel like she's like, okay.
Lucia's not going to do it. Greg's not going to do it. I guess I have to be the bitch, in quotes.
Yeah. Joan then says if he doesn't get a job within 2 weeks, she's done. And okay, that is a bit harsh, like, but I get it. And Greg goes into like bumbling fool mode. He's what 2 weeks? What?
Is that even realistic?
What? So maybe at 2 weeks mark, maybe I'd be getting some results back. And Joan's like, okay, then a month.
Like, see, but this kind of like, she's not really sticking to her trying to be the quote unquote the bad guy. She's like, okay, a month, like still with like the little attitude, but it's like, you can tell she doesn't want to be doing this, but she's just like, fine, okay, by then do it so I can stop doing this.
Greg says he is, quote, flabbergasted.
Oh, ungassed those flabbers.
I know, and blindsided. As though they haven't had this conversation every day for the past 2 weeks.
Like, what? Yeah, every day.
And he said he never before felt that Joan didn't believe in him. And it's like, well, because you showed her you're a fucking incapable fool.
Literally.
She thought you were like a person capable of just like doing something. Like, and this is the thing I really want to emphasize. It's not the fact that he's unemployed. It's the fact that he's voluntarily unemployed.
Right. It's so frustrating.
No one's asking him to do something he's not capable of. But it's like, hey, remember when you turned down that job offer for no reason? Can you not do that again?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm blindsided.
He's irking me really bad. I mean, in this interaction, I had the feeling of, okay, I really want the best for Joan. And I'm actually really happy that she's using this strategy, as much as like, I get the feeling like this is going against her nature. And I find it above anything else extremely frustrating that she is being pushed to the point that she has to do this and basically treat him like a child. That's truly deeply frustrating. That said, if she is willing to do it, hoping that it forces him to become a better person, yeah, ideally would that not be the case? Of course. But I get it. And I really hope, some strategy that hasn't been done before will fucking work for Greg, because Greg, you gotta grow up.
I know. Joan says something like, you better be prepared for that interview tomorrow. And Greg says, you be prepared when I get the job. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to make some love. I don't love when people talk like this in general, as you know, but I was also like...
Not the planning of sex.
Not the planning of sex for the like theoretical job, which he's said will take more than 2 weeks to get.
At least they have a loving relationship. I'm going to try to look on the bright side.
At least they're getting some fresh air in the park.
And banging.
In 1 month when he gets the job.
Well, Greg, you're going to have to plan that really well, because you're going to have to make sure that Lucille's not home.
Lucille's going to have to be with her friend. I know. God. I haven't seen any Lucille recently, by the way. I'm actually devastated. I miss her.
That's why this section was so dry. Also, their whole part, this was it. It was one section that lasted like 5 minutes. It was crazy. And yeah, no Lucille. So why even include it? Honestly, push it to next week. I hope she's back.
Our girl.
So our final couple of the episode was, yes, dramatic, but always a downer, which is Shawn and Alliya. And so we're back in LA, and on the screen it says 65 days to wed for context. Shawn and Alliya are in the car together.
Alliya says she's meeting Jackie at the flower market to get flowers for the wedding, and that Jackie will be the maid of honor. And so she needs flowers that match her dress. And then Shawn says the flowers should be red since Jackie's always after his blood. And like at this point, we don't know who Jackie is at all.
Yeah. Later we, of course, I was like, oh, of course, this is why we're getting no context, as we get flashbacks, and obviously Jackie was in whatever spinoff. Yeah, the prequel. So, okay. Why give us context on the main show, right? Why would we need to know? So Shawn explains that he and Alliya met Jackie in Cartagena at lunch while they're on vacation. Basically, he overheard another American talking at another table and invited her to join them. Social anxiety fears Shawn. That's crazy. I would never do that. What the hell? It's also always kind of funny to me when people are on vacation, they're like, oh, an American. Let's spend time together. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I travel, is to be around more Americans. So Shawn says that Jackie is, quote, a good time. So Shawn says that he was caught off guard when Jackie, quote, grilled him the day after him and Alliya got engaged. And then this is when we cut to a flashback where Jackie is asking Shawn in front of Alliya if he's considered getting a prenup, especially given that Shawn is older, and given no context about Jackie really outside of this. But I don't get the vibe that she doesn't like Alliya or something like that. If anything, I think that she likes Alliya more than Shawn. Yes. So I think she's not saying it in the sense that like, oh, Alliya is after your money or something. I think she says explicitly because Shawn is older, that's why she's asking. So I wonder if she almost means like a will.
She also asked about life insurance. So
Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like the more appropriate question would be, do you have a will in place?
I also think she's more than anything, she's kind of just nosy.
Yeah, could be.
I did have a question about this though. I'm confused about the timeline for something. So the flashback in the car with them where she's asking about the prenup, they hinted that she was asking these questions the day after the engagement. So I was assuming that car ride was the day after the engagement. But then they also said that she's known them for 3 years. And then they also, in the video of the day after the engagement, Alliya is presenting female. Did Shawn propose to Alliya post-transition? Or post-coming out, at least?
Wait, true, because also Shawn keeps saying that it's only been 4 months of Alliya later. And I'm like, what? Did they just get engaged? But that doesn't make sense when applying for the K-1 visa. It takes like a year.
I'm just so confused. And then they met Jackie 3 years ago. But I'm like, did they meet up with her multiple times? There were a lot of questions I had here about the timeline. And I also have to say, if Shawn proposed to Alliya as Alliya, like, Shawn can shut the actual fuck up. He should shut the fuck up anyway. But he can especially shut the fuck up about there having been any sort of bait and switch in the relationship.
True.
You fully proposed knowing exactly what was happening with Alliya's gender. So, like, I'm confused by the, like, I don't know. I feel like before proposal would be a good time to talk about your feelings on that.
Wait, my brain cells are rubbing together. I think I have a theory that could explain it. I wonder if they applied for the K-1 visa, and then when it was like progressing, he flew out to wherever, maybe Brazil, or they met up somewhere, and then they had a proper proposal. So that's why maybe that was only like 4 months ago, like right before maybe like the visa got approved.
You have to like prove that you're engaged to get the K-1?
I think you don't have to prove that there's like a ring. I mean, what's proof of a proposal? It's not a legal binding agreement. I think that you just have to sign a thing, I assume, that's like, yeah, we intend to get married. Fiancé is it's not a legally binding state of being. Maybe that's what happened. That's the only thing that makes sense. My understanding is barrier to entry for the K-1 is pretty low. I mean, hence why everyone on this show is on this show, because it's like half these relationships aren't even real. Well, number one, the K-1 just takes a long time. So it's like you have to have that commitment in that sense. And then the green card, which you apply for after, that's when you submit photos and proof of relationship. And that has heavy scrutiny. This is my understanding of the situation. Again, I've never done the K-1 process, so I'm not 100% sure.
I'm just curious about the timeline. That's all. Like, it was kind of conflicting here.
I totally agree. And that's a good thing to point out. I didn't even clock that. Shawn drops Alliya off to spend time with Jackie. They've arrived at the flower market. And Shawn says that they should have girl time and talk about him behind his back, which I'm going to take in a lighthearted way, but it's just, Shawn is always saying these things that are so like passive aggressive to Alliya, which are frustrating. In an interview, Jackie says that Alliya seems to be happy to be getting married to Shawn, but she thinks that underneath that there might be some uncertainties, which we jump into in the conversation between the two women. So back in the moment, Jackie and Alliya are inside the flower market and picking out different types of flowers. Alliya tells Jackie that sometimes she feels confident and beautiful, but then she looks in the mirror and feels like she's not complete. She says that for now, she really wants to get breast implants. And Jackie asks Alliya if she's told Shawn that. Alliya says no, because every time she brings up things about her transition, he seems like he's, quote, avoiding.
Great sign, by the way.
Yeah, good dynamic, guys.
That's like huge things happening in your life you can't talk about with your partner. That's awesome.
I can't imagine that.
Can you imagine going through anything, even like 10% as important as a transition, and being like, oh, well, I can't talk to my partner about that. He doesn't like that.
Yeah, it's obviously stupid, Shawn. Again, this is Shawn's fault, not Alliya's, for the record. So Jackie asks, what if Shawn does not want her to do it, as in get breast implants? And Alliya says she doesn't think Shawn would be someone to tell her not to do it, but maybe he would feel uncomfortable.
He's probably not gonna like put a gun to your head and say you don't get implants, but he definitely will hold it over your head forever and be like, well, now you made me not attracted to you, so I have to be with other people. Like, you know exactly how I was gonna respond to this. I will say I'm a little bit starting to get annoyed with Alliya because, and I never want to be victim blaming, but she reveals a sense of awareness about certain things. Like, she also says she thinks Shawn misses dating men, and I'm like, girl, you have all the facts that we have.
The writing is on the wall, kind of.
Yeah, it's like if she just really wants to be in the US, like, I guess that's fine. But I think she's like truly in love with Shawn. And I'm just like, at a certain point, we got to start putting the facts together Like, it's pretty clear where this is going.
It's prolonging her own suffering. And fundamentally, I think we both agree that, yeah, Shawn should be the one to release her. But if he's not going to, I think I understand what you're saying of like, yeah, you know.
At a certain point, too, I just want people to help themselves. And, like, if she's just totally blind to what's happening, that's different. But it makes me sad that she sees what's happening and just accepts it as, like, a thing that she has to live with. That makes me really sad.
Me too. And I think it speaks to a lack of self-esteem that is upsetting to see because, well, not that there ever really is, but there's truly no reason for it. Alliya, you're a wonderful person from what we've seen. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're kind. You deserve a much better life than the one that Shawn is giving you. And I think that's why we get upset is that she shouldn't be going through this. And so if there's any way that we could perceive that she could save herself from the situation, I think that's what, like, we almost want to tell her to do that because it's like, yeah, we just want you to have something better. So genuinely not trying to blame her, but try to encourage her, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Of all of the people that we met in America, Jackie, I think so far is the most almost affirming to Alliya in the sense that I feel that she's defending Alliya, like, especially later in the episode. I feel like she is fundamentally more on Alliya's side than Shawn's, which is like fucking fine.
She also consistently genders her correctly. She doesn't dead name her. I mean, bare minimum, but she's meeting the bare minimum threshold.
But at one point she does say a thing where I'm like, ugh, that's a little bit sloppy. But I will say for her, given what you said of like there has been no dead naming that we've seen or misgendering, I think that this was just like a sloppy phrasing.
I'm curious what it was because I don't think I had it.
Continuing the conversation of Alliya basically saying that she's worried that like Shawn would be uncomfortable if she got breast implants. And Jackie asks, quote, when you're in full glam and full Alliya mode, is he like less attracted to you when you're like that or less sexually attracted to you?
I agree. I think the first thing with the whole full glam thing, like I was also a little like when she said full Alliya mode, but I understood what she meant. And I also feel like Jackie was gently trying to say, hey, your fiance is not attracted to you as a woman.
And I think she's noticing that accurately and gently trying to get Alliya to realize that. But I also think maybe like this could be a good opportunity to show like from what we've seen so far, Jackie seems like someone who is fundamentally validating of Alliya's identity and on her side and a friend to her. I think there's a lot of lack of education about how to phrase things about trans people. And I think that a lot of people lack a full understanding. So like, when we come for Shawn and whoever that bitch friend was from a couple episodes ago,
hated her,
who were like dead naming and doing all this shit, like we really are not trying to do it in the sense of like, oh my God, how could people not know? Because like I recognize that both of us, like we have trans people in our lives and like know a lot more than most people. So truly, we're not trying to do it from a sense of like, oh, well, if you don't know, you're a piece of shit.
No, we're coming for the malicious intent.
We're coming for the malicious intent, and we really hope to like educate people who perhaps don't know. I think even for me, I'm learning stuff from you, Sophie, that it's like putting puzzle pieces together of maybe I understood the concept, but there's still more to learn. So I want to like just make that clear.
I mean, we obviously can't speak for communities that we're not a part of, so I'm not going to speak on behalf of trans people, but I will say, like, I think in general, there is no shame in admitting you don't know about a topic and that you want to learn how to approach a topic respectfully and kindly. And I also think in anything in life, people make mistakes and that's fine. The point is just trying hard and doing better, and when you make a mistake, acknowledging you made a mistake, etc. And I think what's so frustrating, for example, with the dead naming, is that even when Shawn is called out, told about the harm, he doesn't care.
Exactly. And that's the malicious intent.
Yeah, that's really the key there.
Jackie says that it seems like there's a lot for Alliya and Shawn to talk about with each other, and she asks Alliya if they're going to get married soon, how confident is she that it's going to last? Again, fair question, and I'm glad someone's asking it finally. Alliya says she's not sure and can't tell her how she will feel at that time. She'll just have to live and see. That's a tough way to feel a month and a half or 2 months before your wedding, being like, yeah, we'll see what I say when I'm up there. What is this, Love is Blind? It shouldn't be like that. Not when you've known each other for years, too.
Yeah, true. They've been together 5 years.
They've been together maybe the longest of all of these people.
There's really no excuse for that. I don't know if I know him.
Yeah, you should.
Here.
Now we cut to the next section of the next part, which seems to be maybe the next day or just sometime after. And Jackie comes over for dinner at Shawn and Alliya's house. Alliya welcomes Jackie in, says, "Welcome to the castle." And she stops in the entryway to show Jackie Shawn's Barbra Streisand dress that is displayed in a glass case by the entryway. She makes a whole thing of, wait, before we go in, you have to look at this fabulous dress from, quote, Browbra. And Jackie kind of laughs. But Shawn is so fucking mean. I hate this piece of shit. He goes, Browbra. I wonder how many other things you're going to mispronounce.
I know. He's so randomly mean about stuff where I'm like, okay.
It's because he's not attracted to her and he doesn't want to be with her, but he won't admit it. And he resents her. He hates her. And he is just like being a fucking piece of shit for no reason to her. Luckily, Alliya ignores that and continues inside and says, "This is the living room with all the antiques." And Shawn jumps in and says, "Including me." And it's like, shut up. Like, oh my God, this maybe isn't about you. Maybe one thing is not about you and you're being so annoying.
Annoying boomer dad energy too.
And it also is just like, wow, yeah, you are old as shit. Why are you with a 25-year-old? How about you stay in your lane? So we cut to an interview with Jackie, and she has a really confusing quote that I'm not even sure if it's something to be, like, was it offensive? Because it's so convoluted.
Okay, tell me.
She says, quote, "There is the persona on the outside of Alliya, but there's still some fear on the inside. So she's afraid to just be moving things out of the way and making it happen. She doesn't want to do too much or ask for too much." End quote.
I interpreted this to mean that on the outside, she's acting like she's cool with everything. She's happy with what's going on. And that on the inside, she is actually anxious about stuff. That's how I interpret it. I didn't interpret it to be like a weird transphobic thing.
It's just funny, like, why do people keep bringing up the word persona? It's just maybe that is, like, activating me because I'm like...
I was thinking about this. I think if we hadn't heard Shawn say some bullshit about persona, I don't think we would have even flagged this.
I understand what you're saying. It's not the Alliya, in quotes, like, the Alliya persona. Maybe it's like... Alliya, she has this persona of being very confident when she's not. I think that actually makes more sense.
I think she's also saying, like, she's acting like she's happy in the relationship when she's not. I think that's a big part of it, too.
Let's assume that's what she meant because I think that makes more sense. And
also, honestly, I did feel like Jackie had a genuinely affirming vibe to her.
Yes.
If it turns out she's not, like, later we'll obviously update, but I tend to want to give people the benefit of the doubt if they haven't given me a reason not to. So... I think that's what she meant.
Yeah, that's why the phrasing threw me, because I was like, oh, I'm not getting that vibe from her in general. So let's go with what you said. So the three of them sit down outside to have a drink, and Jackie asks for details about the wedding. Shawn just fucking comes in hot because he says,
I hate him.
Ideally, we would be able to put the wedding off, quote, because our relationship keeps changing. He keeps using this fuck-ass phrasing, and whatever, we've covered it before. He literally only means because Alliya is living openly as a woman. She is transitioned.
And keeps changing probably means she might get more surgeries.
Specifically about her genitals, which Shawn would hate to part with. Like, grow up. Like, that can be a deal breaker, but break up. Grow up in that sense. Either, if it doesn't matter to you, stop harping on it. And then if it does break up, grow up.
100%.
So Jackie then asks him directly, well, then why are you doing it? Like, why are you getting married? Thank you, Jackie. Shawn says it's because they've tried every other visa option, so this is their last option. And Shawn also says that even though they've been together for 4 years, he's only been with Alliya for 4 months. I'm raging listening to this. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You have been with her for 4 years.
I don't know if I've told you this, but like years ago when my little sister was in 4th grade, she still believed in Santa. And she came home one day and asked my parents if Santa's real. And she said, please tell me the truth. And they said, no, he's not. And she had like the biggest meltdown of her life.
Of course.
She's like, I can't believe my parents have lied to me all these years. She said, I'll never smile again. It was really dramatic. And then she told my parents that she wished she could, quote unquote, transgender herself. Okay. And my parents were like, oh, that's interesting. What makes you say that? And she said, well... And again, this is a small child using like the wrong language, but she said, well, when they transgender you, they erase your memory.
Oh.
That way I can forget that Santa's not real.
What did she learn that made her come to these conclusions?
But listen, what I'm saying is maybe Shawn has been using the same resource. Because he's acting like something was wiped.
Yeah. They did like the Men in Black pen. Memory's gone.
It's so weird. Like, seriously, it's the best explanation I have for why he's behaving like this is a brand new person.
So Shawn, when he says that they've been together for 4 years and he's only been with Aliyah for 4 months, which is so barf, Jackie says she's a true woman, always changing, which I think is kind of affirming.
I thought that was a good way of like diffusing the situation.
And also I think shows that Jackie is pushing back against Shawn. Like, she doesn't agree with this, which thank God. Finally. So Jackie asks what Shawn's kids think about them, quote, running off and getting married. And Shawn tells her that his kids don't know they're getting married. Jackie is shocked. She asks if he thinks his children would be against it. And Shawn says, I don't think their opinion about Aliyah would be negative. But he says he thinks that it would be them being worried about the relationship failing. So it not working out. I don't believe that.
But it's also interesting. That's such an interesting approach to have. You've been with someone for 4 years and you're saying, I don't want to tell people about them because what if we break up?
Right. That's why I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't think that's the only reason. I don't think it's the biggest reason. If anything, it's like maybe your kids would be weirded out while you're dating someone younger than them.
Also, why you like kept it a secret for so long. I
Yeah,
think
why
those
do
are
you
the
not
bigger
respect
issues than
her?
you guys breaking up.
Yeah, why do you not see her as a human being? Also, keep in mind, this guy has been traveling, even like during the pandemic, to foreign countries to meet up with Aliyah and spend time with her. No one had questions about where he was going. You know what I mean? It's such a thing to be keeping from people for so long. I think that's kind of psychotic. It's very much giving dirty little secret. I'm embarrassed about this part of me.
It also makes me wonder how close he is with his children more broadly to like be able to keep this from them.
Exactly. But it's like, but he's keeping it from his children and also his friends. Surely he's close with
Well,
one
I wonder
friend.
how close he is with anybody. I mean, I don't know. He's kind of shitty, so maybe he has no friends.
You might only have surface level stuff. Actually, it's making me think it's kind of disgusting now that I'm realizing it, that he's basically always blaming literally, he says the reason that he hasn't told his kids about Aliyah is because, quote, the relationship is changing, which we've deduced means that she's becoming a woman more and more in his eyes, even though she is a woman already. So that's disgusting because as he's emphasized, for the majority of their relationship, she was not out. She was presenting as a man, so that's not true. Let's say there were 3 years where she was, to him and the rest of the world, presenting as a man. It's like, well, why didn't you tell people during that time?
I really think he's just using her being trans as an excuse for everything.
Yeah, I think it's more of an age thing.
I think it's the one thing that he weirdly feels like absolves him of stuff because I do not feel this way. He seems to feel like there was almost an element of, I don't want to say deception, but like he's kind of used this language of like, there was like a bait and switch. Like I signed up for one thing and then I got another. And like, I feel like in a way he feels like this was something Aliyah did to him that was wrong. And in a way, if the relationship fails because of that reason, then it's on her.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like all the other reasons it would fail are like on him.
It's like, oh, I pressure her into having sex when she doesn't want to so that I don't leave her. She's a 25-year-old. And at the time when we met, like 21, 22, I'm 50
also
plus.
just like mean.
I'm also just a piece of shit, boring, mean motherfucker with no friends. But ask me how I really feel.
Yeah.
In an interview now, Aliyah says that it's making her uncomfortable that when Shawn is asked about the idea of them getting married, he's immediately thinking about their divorce. Very fair.
Fair.
Yeah. And she wonders if Shawn is feeling ashamed of her. Yeah, I would be too, girl. I am wondering that. It sounds like it, which is horrible. And then the last thing that we see in this section is an interview with Jackie where she says that she thinks that Shawn is getting married to Aliyah out of necessity, not out of desire, which makes her sad for Aliyah. So I think that by necessity, I'm assuming that means to get Aliyah a green card.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why does it matter if we get Aliyah a green card if you're not even into her?
Well, Aliyah could stay. I think like you can get a divorce and keep the green card.
But I mean, so is he doing this out of love for her? Because I'm like, I guess that's what I'm confused about is like, Shawn, you hate her. Not only do you not want to be with her, but it's apparent to me that he was pretty much only attracted to her pre-transition sexually. Like, it doesn't seem like he values her intellect. He doesn't seem to care about her opinion on things. He doesn't really, like, he makes fun of her. He talks down to her.
He doesn't even like her
so I'm like,
personality, really, it seems
that's
like.
what I'm saying. He's always shitting on her personality. So I'm like, so this was basically a sexual relationship, in my understanding. And then you're no longer sexually attracted to the person. So, okay, what's left? Like, what's the obligation coming from?
maybe if he's not a full-blown sociopath, he feels some little bit of guilt of like the things that we've identified that he is doing wrong to her and has done wrong to her. And so maybe out of that, like he feels like he should at least throw her the bone of helping her get a green card and immigrating to America. That's my only guess, because I agree, it doesn't make sense. And to continue emphasizing that it's becoming very, very, very clear that he truly views her only as a sex object, because anything about her personality he hates, thinks is boring, thinks is lame, and like pisses him off. And then on top of that, his obsession with her getting rid of her penis is the thing. Literally, I think if she does that, he's leaving the next day. That's the only reason he's with her, is for her penis and her, quote, bubble butt, as he's called it in the past. The only times that he talks about things that he likes about Alliya are about her genitalia and her butt.
And or like past tense. Like I used to love this about her. Too bad she's transitioned.
Yeah. So shut the fuck up. Now I'm screaming, but shut the fuck up. It's not about her being trans. It's about the fact that you can't view her as only a sex object anymore, and that's pissing you off. Shut up that it's her fault. I literally hate him.
Totally. Also, just like, since when do you give your fuck buddy a green card? I don't know. Like, I also like don't get that. Like, I mean, I agree if it's like a dream of Alliya's to come to America and like if she's going to be able to support herself and stuff, if they get a divorce, then like great. But
I think that he feels too awkward about the fact that she's clearly genuinely in love with him and he's not.
Yeah.
I think he feels some guilt about that. But he, like, I don't think he knows that, but I think he's such a pussy bitch that he can't be honest with her about that and say, hey, are you okay with not being together, but basically just doing it to get you a green card? Like, pairing up in that way.
I would have so much more respect for that if he's just like, you want to be platonic partners. And
but he's not. He's such a coward. For me, officially, by far, worst man of the series, worst person on this season. He is genuinely a reprehensible human being.
Predatory, like truly, truly bad intentions. Like Mark, as much as I hate him, is mostly an idiot. Shawn, what will we do with you? You said it. This wraps up episode 9 of My Best View. And as always, we're just so happy that you're here with us. And we would love it if you would give us a review, a rating, wherever you listen to the podcast, and check us out on social media. We're on Instagram at My Best View Pod and on TikTok at My Best View Podcast.
And Sophie, we've got to start planning episode 10. I don't think we can do anything audio-wise to, like, maybe we can do, like, what do you call them? Like, whoa! What's that little noise maker or something?
I know what you mean. Things that pull. We'll just do DIY sounds.
But I'm so excited to make it to episode 10 next week. Despite our personal trials and tribulations, we are here every week, baby.
This is our Mount Everest. Episode 10 is the peak. And then we're going to be going back down the mountain.
Yes, yes.